Let's go, people. Let's go. It's Prognosis negative time.
Hi, this is Eric.
And hello, this is Sean.
And welcome back to Prognosis Negative. This is episode 51. I hope you enjoyed our episode 50 special last week.
What was it?
It was Cloak and Dagger, Sean. You were there.
Okay. I'm sorry. That's right. I forgot about that.
Always great to have Chris back on the show. I can't promise he'll be on ever again, but you never know. Because now there's fees and we have to sign waivers and, non-disclosure things. Because he's big time now, you see. But anyway, we are here to talk about this movie that Sean's been begging me to talk about for months now.
I haven't been begging you to talk about it, but I did want to see it when I saw the trailer months ago. And I, it wasn't going to be a movie that I would necessarily go to see in the theater because I haven't seen a movie in the theater since
Don't say COVID.
Heretic, I think, was the last movie.
Oh yeah, Heretic.
But then it got nominated for Best Picture, Best Actress, and Best a few other things. So I'm like, okay, I've got to check this out now.
So hold on to your teeth and get ready for The Substance.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect.
Pretty girls should always smile.
The Substance. Okay. Eric, who is the wonderful one who directed this?
Oh, goodness gracious. Her name is Coralie. I don't know how to say her name. I don't know.
Coralie Farge, maybe?
Oh, Farge. Yeah, I was going to say because it's French and I'm not good with French pronunciation when I see it written. But Farge, yeah, that sounds much better than Farget, I was going to say.
I'm going to say right up, I was watching this, I'm like, oh, yeah, Demi Moore is going to win the Oscar. However, as I was watching it, I leaned a little bit away from that and thinking how it should win Best Director. Because I think this movie was so well made. And a long time ago, well, not a long time ago, a few years ago, I watched that movie Ex Machina.
Right.
Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course I do.
And all I felt about that movie is this is a Twilight Zone episode or this is a Black Mirror episode. And it's just frou-froued up with a Hollywood budget. I didn't get anything new out of that movie at all. But if you go to The Substance, is that on paper, the moral tale that they're telling is worthy of a Twilight Zone episode, or even better, a Tales from the Crypt episode.
Okay.
But it's handled so well that you never get that idea that we're going for cheap irony.
Right.
And which means that, what the irony is and it's coming soon. You know what's going to happen. We rarely get that with this film, except for one important part. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
100% agree. 100%. I had the same thought the first time I watched it. Yeah, because it transcends all that. Yes, it's true that on paper it could just be one of those sorts of stories, but executes its art on a whole different level to where it is definitely a film, not a television movie or a limited series on Netflix. It goes all the way. And I think you said by the 15-minute mark, you were already, I can't remember how you put it, but you were already all in at that point.
Yeah.
And since I've rewatched it, I think I get it now. Why? Because I hadn't seen it in about 2 or 3 months when I first read that comment that you made. But now that I rewatched it today, I think I get it. It's the visuals, right, that captivate you right off the top.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm glad that happens right at the beginning, that you get hit over the head with these visuals, because that's one of the very first things I heard about or read before I saw the movie was that, this is like very homage to Kubrick or something.
Absolutely, yes. God, yes.
Yeah, and just because someone says that, I always have to be a little bit skeptical because I don't know what they mean.
I did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then to watch it the first time in the first 15 minutes, go, oh, okay, I get it. But then the second part of my statement is, and then you think, well, is the whole movie going to be like Kubrick porn visually? But it's not. It is in another way. But as far as having the obvious nods, they kind of get out of the way, and then they're more subtle the rest of the way.
It changes from Kubrick to Cronenberg very, very quickly. Or I had a friend that was texting me about this movie earlier today, and he said, "What did you think about all the blood at the end?" And I said, it took me a minute to think about what to say, and I said, "Well, they deserved it. If they're going to romanticize this beautiful woman singing on New Year's Eve, which is okay." But around it, we've got the chorus girls with the tits out and all the glamour and all this and every. It was kind of a fuck you to that.
Yeah,
I think it was very. What's his name? The original Office guy, Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, when I watched the movie again today, because I'd seen it 3 times before, but those 3 times were in a cluster, and it's been a while since then. But when I watched it today, I had a new thought about that particular scene that you spoke of, like more of the meaning to it, I think, because aside from the shock value and everything, I think my new thought is, like you said, she was put up there and romanticized and ogled and obsessed over.
I think romanticized. I think fetishized. I don't know. It's all academic.
Yes. That's why I said ogled and
Yeah,
like
ogled.
put on this pedestal.
Yeah.
And what I was thinking was when she reveals herself, when the mask falls off, and you see what do they call it, Monstro Eliza Sue, and everyone is aghast. How I thought about it today is that you see now the visual representation shows a part of who she was on the inside the whole time,
Right.
or who she became
Absolutely,
in the
yes.
older years retired.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing it. The audience is seeing it in front of them for the first time. And I was thinking, this is like when you have a very popular celebrity, actor, filmmaker, whomever, who's beloved, like a Kevin Spacey or a Woody Allen,
Mm-hmm.
and then you discover something from their past. And I took the crowd as reacting like, it's a monster, let's get it, let's kill it. And they're doing the whole Frankenstein thing. But I took that as like a visual representation of canceling and like a mob just turning on you, especially because she's saying, no, it's me. I'm Sue. But that's like, but yes, Kevin Spacey did all the work he did. Woody Allen did all the work he did. It's still the same person that you put up there. But now that you see this thing below the surface you're unaware of, you want to essentially kill them, not metaphorically or in the movie literally. And so when she starts spraying everyone, and like you said, like they deserve it, it's almost like a canceled person's revenge film at that moment, like a fantasy of someone who's been canceled and is like paying back the mob for their ridiculousness.
I like this. I like that. Yeah. No, I think that's very, very good theory. My only problem with that is that the people that you mentioned they're different from Elizabeth
Yes.
Sparkle in that,
Yes, they are.
it's not a sexual.
No, completely. You're completely right. They're very different situations.
They're not recovering from, being accused of committing a crime or anything. They're just going to the extreme for how they look.
Yes, I agree. It's totally different. Almost apples and oranges, but still germane in that they're canceling the person who they built up.
Okay.
And a mob loves to turn on someone who they built up in any way, in any facet. They just can't help themselves. The mob, so to speak.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I will say though, and I obviously told Sean this already before, but as great as the movie is to experience at home or on a large television, you got to see it on the big screen, not just because it's big and huge in front of your face, but this movie benefits greatly from the real audience reactions.
Mm-hmm.
That is part of what you get for the price of admission. And just this is a very reactive movie with the live audiences that I watched it with. And people have different reactions, or had different reactions in my theater experiences, because there was a few people who literally walked out and never came back at certain points, some early, some later in the film. There's also people who were horrified and aghast at all the right moments and squirming in their chairs, a lot of that, shielding their eyes at many parts. But there was also a minority of people who could not stop hysterically laughing at the extreme moments as well. They needed to be put on a watch list.
See, if I had seen this movie in the theater for the third time, I'd probably laugh too. But this movie does, because it's on the screen right now. This movie has a lot of squishy moments.
Yes.
That it's weird. It's like, what is more gross and squishy? Is it Dennis Quaid eating shrimp, or is it you sticking a fucking needle into your arm with some, injection? Yeah, lots of squishy, gross stuff in this movie.
And as much of a visual fest as this movie is, whether you're watching in a theater or with super loud sound, or if you turn up the volume in your headphones or home system, the audio, Foley, etc., it's absolutely insane for all these moments.
I think it should win an Oscar for that. I don't know if it was nominated. I know I should have looked it up before this, but we don't get paid to do this, so I don't have time for that.
But yeah, it's such a feast on any facet that you might be into when it comes to imbibing a film. Whether you like the script, whether you like the allegory, performances, direction, visuals, whatever thing is your kink when it comes to film, this movie is going to supply something in that department.
I do have to mention that how should I frame this? When she gets the kit and she brings it back to her apartment, which, by the way, I have a problem with the geography of that apartment. We'll get to that later. And she does the injection, or right before she does the injection, there's a shot of her where she's feeling sorry for herself. She's looking, I think, at her sagging boobs. We're shown a far shot of her. It looks like her butt is sagging, and I felt kind of bad for her. I kind of felt bad for Demi Moore, too. Because of course, then she injects herself, and a more beautiful version of herself comes out. Or is it herself? But it is herself.
It is herself.
Per the rules of the substance.
It is herself. It comes from her, but it's like a distilled version of her.
Okay. All right.
So it comes from her, but it isn't all her. It's a piece of her or pieces of her.
So her that crawls out of her is named Sue, and I guess workout videos online or whatever are a big thing. So Sue's got nice boobs and a butt, and she's basically got a perfect fucking body. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But
yeah, checks out. Fact check correct.
Yeah, and there was oh man. There was a moment when Sue, and I hated Sue through this whole movie.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, this girl,
or is it
she's eating it up too much. She has to realize she has to know the rules and understand this woman in the other room is, sort of depending on her.
Yeah. But obviously that is showing something, right? I mean, in real people, when you find success or when you find your groove and you let your old self go by the wayside, meaning when you're starting up in a new company or you're a younger person in your career field and you're polite and cordial and empathetic towards other people, but then you start getting some juice in your life or in your position, and then your monster comes out and you don't have time for the little people anymore.
Yeah.
And or if you want to go the route of addiction, because Requiem for a Dream was a movie I thought a lot about after I watched this the first time.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
How having, her addiction is to remaining in the limelight and, using this substance to maintain this life, and she can't get away from it. And with any addiction, whatever it is, narcotics or anything else, at what expense for the rest of the other aspects of your life, but also at what expense for your health, for your well-being.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
and I'm going to say that as somebody who buys semaglutide from a compound pharmacy and injects it into myself once a week, so I can be skinny.
Yeah.
And not eat a lot. And I don't know, 20 years from now or 10 years from now, a doctor could tell me, well, it looks, Mr. Harmrig, it looks like you've got blah, blah, blah cancer from the semaglutide. It could happen, but.
Yeah. And Sean also has a wicked ugly finger now. But no, with that scene when she first gets the kit.
That was, no, wait, hold on. That was a really creepy finger. Like, remember when you were a kid on Halloween and they would give you those little finger things, and there was one that looked like that was like stage 1. That fucking finger on her, that was like stage 10,000. That was a great wicked finger.
I had maybe one of those fingers back in the day, but I also got a pair of gloves one Halloween, huge rubber gloves that were horrific looking hands with crazy nails, and I would just be wearing those gloves all the time. They're so great.
I wish I could go somewhere for Halloween where it's just like adults that like Halloween.
Oh, well, that's very much a thing these days. Not hard to find.
We should have that. We should have like a prognosis negative convention.
Well, I haven't decided if we'll go the Halloween route or sex party a la Eyes Wide Shut for our theme. I'm kind of torn, or maybe I can find a way to combine them.
No, we can't afford that place in Eyes Wide Shut.
Well, also it could be ghastly, considering who our potential attendees.
I can't do it. I'm not doing it. I will do. You know what, sir, hold on. I will do a hot tub at the Red Roof Inn. Put
Well, it could be extremely horrific considering who our potential attendees could be, because even if we all have masks on, we're going to know who everybody is.
Well, do you know, I like to think that if I took the substance and I injected myself, I would really love for the person to come out of me is probably Tom Daly. Because seriously, because I don't know, that's pretty much what I looked like once and back then.
Yeah, I would be a young, strapping Lou Diamond Phillips from Courage Under Fire. That's who would come out of my carcass.
You are absolutely correct. Yes, this is absolutely correct, sir. Yes.
If anyone's seen photos of me when I was in my early 20s, I look just like Lou Diamond Phillips
Sir.
from Courage Under Fire.
Yes. But wait, I want to ask you. Wait, Eric, I want to ask you a question. One of the problems that I had with the film was that what Sue was doing, Elizabeth had no memory of, and vice versa. Like
Not exactly. Not exactly.
That was fuzzy to me.
It is fuzzy. I had to think about it several times after my first two viewings. And by the second viewing, I think I sorted it out. Because I kept wondering, the first time I watched it, are they two separate personalities living individual lives, even though they came... Because, on the phone, they keep saying, no, remember, you're the same one. And she's like, well, she's acting like this, and she's doing this, and da-da-da-da. And I realized upon my second viewing, especially with the scene with the piece of chicken in her buttocks, I realized that that's the most obvious time that you see this in the movie, but there's other moments as well. Whenever one of them wakes up, when they do the transition, they remember what the other did, but they remember it like in a distorted dream.
Okay.
So they do have some ability to know what the other was doing. It's not perfect. It's not the same personality jumping back and forth, but they have a recall that's almost like a dream or nightmare of what the previous person was doing.
And I was also what is the name of the girl that played Sue?
Is it? I always mess up her first name, but Margaret Qualley.
There you go. Yeah. She was great. The only thing, of course, I judged her about the amount of time she had to get the fluid from Elizabeth's body. Oh, I thought that she should be smart enough after a little while to realize that that's not going to work forever. I mean,
she couldn't help herself. She kept trying to make limits for herself, like it'll only be this much, just till we get past the New Year's celebration. But she could never live up to the limits that she set up for herself. Again, if you look at the comparison of addiction, look, I'm quitting, after Friday or after Christmas, and then you have the intention, but you're caught up in it and you just can't, obviously people who go too far in whatever their addiction is, gambling, whatever, to where you lose your job, you lose your wife, you lose your house, it's, you could say you should know better, but we all know that doesn't work for people who are in that trap.
Let me ask you this, Eric, because we've talked about movies on various podcasts that we've done, like movies like Dawn of the Dead. There's been some Dario Argento movies we've talked about. But what did you think about the gore in this movie? And I do mean the word gore, as opposed to like somebody being slashed or, what did you think about that?
On a visceral level, it doesn't affect me as much as it affects other people. And also, I have a lot of friends, I'm not sure if you're in the group or not, who just love this kind of stuff. I mean, even if it disgusts you or makes you feel uncomfortable, you still love it at the same time. I know a lot of people who fall into that category, and I'm not one who necessarily has a thing for that at all. That being said, though, I don't usually recoil at such things in films. there's certain examples I'd have to think about it where it is repulsive to me. But what we got in this movie, no, it wasn't repulsive. And I did get the joy of seeing everybody else freak out in the theater at those moments. I do get a little bit of jollies off of that.
Yeah, it had a lot. So, did you see the Kubrick stuff?
Yeah, of course. Of course. The most obvious examples are the hallway, the restroom. Some less obvious, and also another obvious thing is that Monolith song at the end when Monstro comes out and they play that iconic theme. But there's less obvious nods, like the first time she injects the substance, you see these flashing lights of red and other colors. And you see it a few other times later in the movie. That reminds me very much of when I saw the making of how they did the, I don't know what to call it, the tunnel sequence in 2001 A Space Odyssey. It was the way they made that, when he starts freaking out when he's going to the other dimension. It doesn't look exactly the same, but they use the same techniques, I'm pretty sure, of just quickly running like bulbs and lights in front of the camera. Very similar, and I'm sure there's many, many more. But there's also visual nods to other makers, several others besides Kubrick. It's not just Kubrick.
There's a really obvious Hitchcock one from Vertigo. When the transformed, I don't know, Isabella Sue is putting on earrings.
Yes.
And they play the music from Vertigo.
Oh. See, that's one of the Hitchcocks I have yet to see, so I completely missed that. And of course, there's many restroom, bathroom scenes that are very Psycho. Alfred Hitchcock Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that. The smearing of the makeup, I think I read it was from LA Confidential. I haven't seen that movie.
Wait, the smearing of the makeup? Wait.
When she's thinking about meeting up with that guy she knew from school and she's ready to go, Demi Moore, and then she looks in the mirror and she's just like, and she just like smears the makeup across her face in frustration and then redoes her makeup multiple times. But that whole frustration smearing of the makeup, I think, is from LA Confidential.
From Kim Basinger?
Could be.
Okay.
I might be mixing it up with another movie that's in that same vein as LA Confidential, but it's one of those.
Huh.
But yeah, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot of great movie compilations that you can watch on YouTube that show a lot of the visual references throughout this movie. So you mentioned that there's certain types of body horror that really creeps you out. What's your experience like with those? Because I can't tell, is it just revulsion in you, or do you get your jollies at the same time? How does it go for you?
No, this is a great question. Please record this. No, body horror is so subjective. One of the things, there's a movie called The Brood, directed by David Cronenberg. And that was really gross to me. And it was about a lady giving birth to a whole bunch of goblins, and they're all over the place. What was the question?
So, I think you mentioned some scenes that jumped out at you were stuff with the eyes, stuff with the teeth.
Yeah, I don't like the blood stuff. I'm actually looking at it right now. There's the scene where I think it's when the first time that Sue then transfers back into Elizabeth, and she has to plug IVs into, this is when she's doing it the right way. She plug IVs into both of their arms, and then there you see the blood going through the tubes. Hate it. Oh, I feel like I'm going to pass out or something.
Funny. I know it bothers a lot of people, like in real life or in film, television, that has almost zero effect on me in any context. Interesting.
But yeah, I think this whole movie is like a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale. It's a really well written and directed and photographed fairy tale
Or fable.
or a fable. Yeah, it's just like you could tell this whole story and this isn't a complaint, but you could tell this whole story in an episode of Tales from the Crypt from the
Yeah,
90s.
of course you could, yes.
And they may have done some version of this
But
too.
likewise, if you have the budget and the know-how and the skill, you could take any of those stories and make them movie masterpieces.
Yeah, you're right, but this is terrific. This is I have to watch more nominees for Best Picture.
I as well.
I really want to watch The Conclave for some reason because I just want to
Well,
zone out and drink
You
Earl.
know, fun fact: Sean was an altar boy growing up.
No, because I
I
want
will say no more. I will say no more.
to drink my Earl Grey tea and watch The Conclave and have my glasses on and my crossword puzzle in my lap. Oh, I'm watching The
I
Conclave.
thought you were going to say your cross and your Bible, and you'd be taking notes.
Jesus Christ! I hate him so much, everybody. I hate him so much.
Me or the Pope?
No, not the Pope. The Pope. I'm talking about you.
Okay.
Catch us on the Best Picture podcast, folks. Please. We've got
What have we got on the Best Picture podcast?
on the Best Picture podcast. You won't believe it. I don't know when this is coming out, but by the time that you listen to this, we'll likely cover 19 in which there are, I think, 9 movies nominated for Best Picture. You can listen to us talk about Aerosmith or such classics as Oh, How You Love Me, or other classics like Dance to This or Singapore Love. Those will all be great classics that we'll
Is it
talk about.
1934 that we're doing next?
I don't remember.
It's something like 34. It's the 30s.
Okay.
It's before 39. It's early 30s.
I can sense everybody's like, I know.
No, but thanks for the transition, because speaking of older classic movies, after I watched this the first time, I sought out and watched the next day The Picture of Dorian Gray from 1945.
Oh, that's excellent. Yes.
It's perfect.
Yes.
I had seen bits of it in school when I was coming up.
Yes.
But I watched the whole movie, and I love that movie, The Picture of Dorian Gray, based on the Portrait of Dorian Gray, because, it's 1945, black and white. It's sort of like a period melodrama, but it's considered a horror movie, even though it's not your traditional horror movie in any way. It's a lot of it's more horror of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew when, I can't remember if it was Sue, I think it was, or Elizabeth, who threw, it was Elizabeth, I think, who threw the little ballerina snow globe and made the crack on the picture in her apartment. And I already knew this has something to do with Dorian Gray, even though I haven't read the book or seen the movie in total. And yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because what happens to Elizabeth's body throughout the movie as she deteriorates, she is the picture of Dorian Gray. And Sue is Dorian Gray as he appears, the character throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And it's both of them are great journeys into the mind of a corruptible person. Because Dorian Gray was a great fellow when he was young in the beginning of the movie.
I absolutely agree with all of that. You are absolutely right. This is a retelling of The Picture of Dorian Gray.
When you watch this movie multiple times, if you do, and you look around, there's clues and iconography everywhere throughout the movie, which is also a Kubrickian thing. Like even the carpet, besides the fact that it looks like the carpet in The Shining, Did you notice anything else about the carpet design?
No.
So it has this.
I noticed a couple of Clockwork Orange looking scenes, but go ahead.
The pattern in the carpet looks like squares or rectangles, but it basically looks like a cell in rectangular form that is dividing into two,
Okay.
which is, reminiscent of the egg in the very beginning. And if you look throughout the movie, there's other imagery that you will see in the background subliminally that depicts something splitting into two. There's some nondescript graffiti on the brick wall where she goes and picks up her refills. And the graffiti is like a face, but the eyes look like they're dividing. And yeah, so there's that. And did you notice the eggs?
Yeah, the egg splitting to two after somebody injects something into it.
Which is an extremely simple way to explain how the substance works or what it does without any real exposition, at least not verbal.
Mm-hmm.
Just that one scene in the beginning. Did you notice the yellow throughout the movie?
No.
Go back and play it.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say no on this, but I'm also okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can play a drinking game with your friends, and every time you spot yellow, take a drink because they don't ever show yellow for no reason in the movie. You'll see a random Jeep parked outside her place when the guy is going to pick up his motorcycle, and he's super pissed off because he sees Elizabeth and doesn't give a crap about her. You'll see the Jeep. Her buddy from school. After he gives her
Henry.
his phone number.
Poor Henry.
Yeah. When the taxi picks him up, it's an all black taxi, but it has this yellow line. And it almost made me think he was like in on this or something, like he worked for the company or something. But I don't think so.
I understand now when you were asking about that, because I found there was where were they supposed to be in this story?
Los Angeles.
It's L.A. I'm so sorry. That's right.
Yeah.
There are scenes where all of a sudden she's outside of her house. She's walking down the street, and we see really multicolored cars and houses and all that in L.A. I do see that. Yeah.
Yes.
That the outside of the house was just done completely different.
Yeah.
From when she was hanging out inside and being depressed.
Yeah. A lot of places like that in California, or not just California, but yeah. Of course, her yellow Coraline jacket that Elizabeth always wears. And there's many, many more little nods of yellow here and there throughout the movie. Another thing because when I think a movie is really good, when I'm watching it for the first time, I start my hyper awareness goes off the scale, and I start analyzing everything on screen. And the first time I watched this movie, I was trying to place it like in time. Like, is it the 80s? Is it present day? And what was really confusing me was the cars, because almost every car you see is like a classic car, or from like a certain time period, and they're all over the place. And at first I thought maybe they're just trying to make this movie seem timeless, like it's non-specific. But when I learned that the movie was all filmed in France, I have a new theory, which is I think because they were in France, they just needed to get American cars to stand in. And in Europe, people who own American cars often own like classic, like a 60s Mustang or a, 70s Camaro. And so I believe that's why almost all the cars look like notable Americana cars, because they're probably just borrowing cars from local owners in France. And that's the kind of cars you would see. So, but it works for the movie, but I think it's because of practical reasons as well.
Okay.
What do you think about Dennis Quaid's character Harvey? Okay, we get it. But the character Harvey was originally cast and was to be played by Ray Liotta.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Well, sorry, Ray, you can't be in it because you died.
Exactly. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you meant like, well, he obviously passed, so then they had to find someone else, or I didn't know if you meant Dennis Quaid would have been much better in the role than Ray.
I don't think. Oh, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. That would be a really good, like, nerdy question because I don't know. And I'm going. No.
See, because young Ray or Ray of like 10 years ago or more, certainly he'd be perfect for this kind of role, like douchebag producer.
Like when he was like, Karen.
Yeah. But older Ray, it would just be like, did you get your
God.
Chantix? Did you get your Chantix? Did you quit smoking? Like, I wouldn't be able to picture anything else.
But he was so by the end of his life, he was so pockmarked, and he had like kind of nice
Layers of makeup.
but yeah, lots of makeup, and I could just see him chewing that shrimp. I could see that. I could see him being really good at that. But you know what? You know, Jeff, you go ahead and get it. That's fine. You did a great job. I like that. Well, I didn't like that character, but I liked his performance.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid has been on a little streak lately. He's had a lot of interesting performances in a range of films, like just in the recent years.
In a weird way, he reminded me of like a character from Scrooged, like at the end. Because there's the one guy with the Matthew Modine hair who's like the producer. That's what he kind of reminded me of. Yeah.
If we had recorded this movie after I had initially seen it, you would never get me to shut up about this movie, because it's everything Eric wants in a movie. And it doesn't have to be this type of story. It doesn't have to be body horror. It doesn't have to have sort of like a sci-fi twist. No, it's just that in of itself does not make an Eric movie, but something that tickles every bit of movie enjoyment. This tickles every bit, and that is the definition of an Eric movie.
So I'm thinking it's kind of like when you eat food and parts of your tongue are like,
Yes.
This one tastes salty, this one's sour, this one's sweet, and this touched all of them for you.
Yes. It's kind of like that candy in Willy Wonka where you could have like a whole turkey dinner and just like, yeah. I was always a fan of Margot, or I always call her Margot. Margaret Qualley, always been a fan of her in like the 3 or 4 movies I'd seen before this, but she has now reached a new echelon of being a star, being an actress. But also, check out, she has at least 2 music videos that she collaborated on with. I'm not sure if it's her husband who makes the videos or someone, but I had never seen those music videos, which came out like in the last 5 years or so. You can find them on YouTube. But if you watch them, they're music videos, but they're like mini movies, kind of like Michael Jackson stuff. And you can see she has the chops to play this character if you watch those music videos. See, I wasn't aware of that artistic side of her until after, seeing this movie and then looking into what else she's done besides movies. But yeah, she's a total package in terms of, being able to dance and sing and do everything else. Me and my friend were, because, my friend who I saw it with, he said, oh, Demi Moore is the perfect person, like, an actress who was, really popular back in the day, who sort of faded out of the limelight in real life. And I was like, yeah, it's true. But then I was thinking, yeah, but there could have been actually a lot of candidates for that. And of course, when we're recording, all those names escape me now, because I thought of like 6 or so actresses who also could have perfectly filled this role in 2024.
Yeah, I was thinking about that while I was watching this, which is the curse of like somebody that pays attention to stupid shit like that, that she was nominated for Best Actress. And I kind of feel, I mean, she has a lot of scenes, or a few scenes where she's like exhibiting like pain or fear or anything like that. And I don't, it's great. It's a great performance. It's nice for her to have a comeback, but I don't know. I have to see the other nominees, and I feel that there would be somebody else
Well,
that would be better.
I know I'm not saying she should win, but definitely deserves the nomination. There's no doubt in my mind. But I also feel that Margaret Qualley should have got a nomination.
She did. Oh no, she didn't. I'm sorry. I thought you were
did
talking
not.
about the director. No, she
No,
didn't.
No, she
Oh
did
yeah,
not.
I totally agree. Yeah,
You agree that she shouldn't get nominated, or
I agree that she should have gotten nominated.
Yeah,
That's
again, I'm not saying she should win, but nominations certainly. I don't know how you can nominate one and not the other. Whether you make, in my world, Demi Moore would have been nominated for Best Actress, and Margot would have been supporting, even though probably Margaret Qualley has more screen time. But it's not about that when it comes to category nomination.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Corley, the directress. Did I just make up a word? the director. Um, she's only really had like two notable films, this being one of them. Did you see Revenge?
Yes, a long time. It was during COVID. It was a big feature on Shudder. It's a great film. It's one of those sort of rape revenge type films. I mean, it's right
Yeah.
there in the title.
Yeah.
Home intrusion type thing, like Straw Dogs or
Yeah. It's a well-made movie. It's like that genre you just spoke of. Like you've probably seen movies like that before with a very modest budget. And even though it's more or less simplistic on paper, like the overall story, I could tell it was better than the typical like direct to stream type movie. I could tell it was better. And it's not even my genre or anything. And I've told this before, but Sean probably doesn't remember. The whole reason I ever got Shudder in the first place was because I kept getting bombarded with the thumbnail of the picture of the girl from Revenge as an ad to subscribe to Shudder. I was getting bombarded for days and weeks on end. And it was just because of that picture of this actress who's not famous. That's why I started subscribing to Shudder, because I just wanted to watch that movie. And of course, I didn't watch it right away when I subscribed to Shudder. I was watching some other things on there, like Blood Machines. One of these days, we're going to do a podcast on that.
I remember that. I remember when you did that. Yeah.
Yeah. One of these days, we're going to do a podcast about Blood Machines, me and Caleb and maybe Isaac. But anyway, I finally watched The Revenge when it was on sale on Vinegar Syndrome. And I bought it there, and then I watched it. But as much as I thought that movie was very above average for a modest independent film, I never knew the director had this in her, this type of movie. It is such a quantum leap. It's kind of like when you watch, if someone was to watch Denis Villeneuve's early films, his French Canadian films, when he was a no one, like, and then the quantum leap once he gets a Hollywood budget and Hollywood actors. It's kind of like that. Like, you can sort of tell it's the same person, but it's on a whole different level.
Yeah, and when you talk about her talents and the Academy Award, I'm like, okay, I think this is fantastic. I loved what she's done. She's played with so many different camera angles, and it seems to be having a lot of fun with her craft. So I really feel that I would like her to win the Academy Award for
Oh.
Best Director.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I haven't seen the other nominees. I haven't seen the other. I admit that. But there's something in here that, as you said earlier, I mean, that sort of like absorbs different genres into a fantastic 6-cheese pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I haven't seen the other nominees either, but I feel like if any of those other movies, if the director had pulled something off like this, and I'm not saying this movie, but something notable, I feel like I would have heard more buzz already if some other director pulled something miraculous off. Because I'm sure most of those nominees are fine movies in their own right, but I don't know how many of the directors are pushing any type of limits or expectations or anything like that.
I did. I got believe it or not, what's the Wicked? I got Wicked on Blu-ray. It came in the mail the other day, and it included a that slip with the QR code.
Yes.
And I have a group where we share that, and I'm like, here, enjoy it. And this one guy said, it's a damn shame this wasn't nominated for Best Director. And I thought, oh, okay, now I want to watch this movie.
I'll have to watch it because
Wait, have you seen it in the theaters?
no, I have not. I've never seen any version of Wicked.
Oh, okay.
But I need to see it because based on trailers and the fact that it's, a Disney movie, yada yada yada, the look of the movie looked like other Disney movies where it's very digital, it doesn't look real, quote unquote. And so I wrote it off as that in my mind. But I had shared a link to this YouTube video recently that you probably didn't see in one of our chat groups, where this young person on YouTube breaks down why do newer movies not look like the older movies of back in the day, color. And he starts explaining, why, because of digital this, digital that. And I loved all his examples of digital looking movies and really great looking analog movies. But one thing that threw me is that he was saying, most modern pictures don't really look great these days. Yeah, there's some exceptions like The Substance, Wicked. And I was like, wait a second. Am I hearing this right? So he's saying Wicked does look good for a modern movie. And he was saying that, the people who made Substance and Wicked, they're people who really care about their craft, put the time in to make it look special. These kind of movies don't come along. So now I have a funny expression on my face, and I have to see Wicked and see if this is true. Because it doesn't look that way in trailers, but trailers can be extremely deceiving.
I'm so sorry. He wants it to look like what?
No, he was saying that Wicked and Substance were exceptions in terms of modern movies that actually look good, as opposed to digital or flat, the way most modern movies do. And so I was surprised because Wicked doesn't look visually appealing to me in trailers, but trailers, that's they change lighting and grading and all kinds of stuff. It may not be a true representation of the actual movie.
I think he may be talking about practical effects. Maybe.
No, but that is a good thing to bring up with talking about The Substance, because I meant to bring this up earlier when you kept saying this could be, an episode of Black Mirror or Tales from the Crypt. Yes, some other filmmaker could have taken this movie, made this movie from the script, but most filmmakers would have had copious digital effects throughout this movie, especially for the body horror, but for other things as well. And this movie is almost devoid of digital CGI effects. There is some here and there, but even when it happens, you can't really tell if something is necessarily CG or not. And definitely sticking to the practical effects, the actual makeup and costumes for the gory things we see, that is just another benefit to the movie. And it would not be the same if it was a digital monstro Eliza Sue. It just, this movie would not be the same.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to close it, or are we hit? Oh,
Yeah.
Did we already close it?
No, all we got to do now is, Sean, choose a unit of measure. And there is so many things you could choose from for this movie.
Unit of measure. Like if I say 503, is that a unit of measure? Like 1 to 503? How do you rate this?
No, unit of measure is how many chicken butts.
You're right. We do this for the best picture. Yes. How many injections would you give this out of 5, Eric?
Okay. I'm going to borrow our sponsor from the Best Picture podcast, Rotten Tomatoes. And under the tomato meter, it's at 89%, which seems a tad low to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the popcorn meter, which is what they call the audience score now, is a measly 75%. That must be because of the people who walked out and didn't finish the movie. Not that that would have made their opinion any better, but those are probably the people who are turned off by it. Let's see what it says here. Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? You only better in every way. You should try this new product. It's called The Substance. It changed my life. With The Substance, you can generate another you, younger, more beautiful, more perfect. You just have to share time. 1 week for one 1 week for the other. A perfect balance of 7 days each. Easy, right? If you respect the balance, what could possibly go wrong? Whoa, that's a weird blurb.
I subscribe to Fangoria magazine, which means in the mail I get an actual magazine.
Do those cost like $35 an issue now?
Well, no, $35 maybe for a year, but it's a really solid magazine with good shit.
I know
in it.
Fangoria, of course.
They had a great article about this movie, as well as an insert that had that ad that you just played.
Oh, yeah. This is the first time I've ever read a blurb on Rotten Tomatoes that was like that. So I'm assuming that wasn't AI. If that was generated by AI is starting to creep me out now. But I am obviously giving it a 5 injections out of 5 because this is Eric movie from start to finish. Everyone's fantastic, not just the leads and primaries, but even like the casting of the guy across the hall, Oliver. Or what'd you think about the boyfriend with the hairy butt?
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah. And then I saw the hairy butt and I was like, no.
Yeah, Sean only accepts Brazilian wax. And Sean, how many injections out of 5 are you giving The Substance?
I'm going to give it a 4.5. I think the movie is brilliant. Hold on. I'm going to back up for a second. Yeah, I'm going to stick at the 4.5. There was a little bit of lag that should have been taken up by just a little bit more exposition. Okay, because
Where was the lag?
I think the lag was when Sue really got into her thing.
Okay.
And I did, also when Elizabeth gets the kit, you see those, I don't know what they look like, but the food things, it's like 5 packets of fat.
Yes.
It was kind of unclear to me what was going on, but I don't care.
Really?
I mean, I didn't know that she would have to feed the packets to, I'll just do
Yeah.
it. I'll just watch it. It's okay.
That's funny. I thought it was like I thought the way the packaging came out, it was like IKEA instructions. Like almost anyone could get it from what was shown.
But the scene where she gets it is so, it's like, okay, she's got to go to a bad part of town, she's got to go down these steps and hunker underneath this thing and then go into this like futuristic 2001 space odyssey room
Yes.
to get her kit.
I like how there's only two clients at this point, and of course, one is the young medical tech from the doctor's office with the conspicuous birthmark on his wrist, who she meets later in the diner, in the Pulp Fiction Mulholland Drive diner.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I think so. Jeez. It's so sad, even when you think about that guy, and he wanted to be wait a minute. I don't know how long he was doing it that he was able to be a nurse, but
well, he could have been a nurse in his previous life, so he could jump right back into his vocation as a young man.
But he was really like sad and like stumbly and shit, and you wouldn't blame the guy for wanting to go and be a nurse like that. But the problem is that when we talk about Sue and Elizabeth, they don't seem to know what each other are doing except for evidence that they leave behind.
Yeah.
Like an eviscerated turkey. Oh, we got to. Yes. That's the thing.
Yeah, but that moment of just running into the old man at the diner, like, yes, if you've ever watched Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt, you already knew, oh, Demi Moore is going to get old and decrepit. Like, because they always have those types of scenes in those episodes where they run into somebody who's further along the process. At first, I was just thinking, like, this is going to be some type of crazy pyramid scheme, and Demi Moore's going to have to recruit somebody else to go through the process. But no, it doesn't go that direction.
I would buy that if it was done well.
Yeah, of course I would. It's just,
but it was fine as it was.
Yeah, for me, absolutely. And for me, the fact that it's a 2 hour and 20 minute film, when I saw it in the theater, it never felt like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It goes by quick.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. Yes.
However, I did think the movie was going to end when Elizabeth was killed by Sue, but then it just kept going and it kept going. And I kept thinking, oh my God. And then now the filmmaker's effing with us, like Peter Jackson with The Return of the King. Like, is it over? And it starts going so over the top. You're like, please let it be over. And her head gets blown to bits. She grows a new head, and then you have all the blood, and then you have the face still crawling along. And I don't know if you noticed in the very beginning, when Elizabeth is doing her show and she's like trying to motivate the viewers. Come on, that's it. You don't want to be a fat jellyfish on the beach.
Which she ends up.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's ironic because she's saying, oh, you don't want to be that. But in the moment in the movie when she is the fat jellyfish, she is happy. She's elated to still be alive in that moment. So,
and you're talking about the last moments of the film,
yes,
right? Like,
yes. Like she has joy that she's at least able to slither back to her star.
And that's interesting because that's what the movie opens up with is, them putting it in and, people walking over it. Nobody cares about, I can't remember her name now, but yeah.
I can only hope when my time comes and I'm in the bed next to Sean at the hospice care and they have all the tubes going into all 7 of my holes. I hope I can have that moment of the jellyfish where, as jacked up as I am, I can just smile and look at the ceiling and think, I did it. I lived my life, and it's fantastic. Yeah. And then they'll call in the hazmat cleanup crew because Sean won't tell me when I had passed for like a whole week. It'll be a huge mess.
This isn't very You know my mom passed. Now, could you please be some more dignified? I think you should be more dignified.
Oh, geez. Now the episode has
Think
become
about the
macabre.
Lord Jesus Christ.
Oh, boy. Okay. We're going to have to close out the show so I can go grab my rosary.
Jesus Christ.
But until next time, closing out the show today, this is Eric.
This is Sean.
And until next time,
the balcony is yours.
Prognosis negative.
the theme to Masters of the Universe? Are you kidding me right now?
I didn't even think about what that was.
That was the match. I have the power.
Hi, I am Adam. I am the Prince of blah blah blah. Some people call me.
No, it's hi. I'm Adam.
Oh, stop trying to be gay. No, you gay.
Have you not watched those videos of Adam like compiled on YouTube?
Duncan, lean over. I'll try to push it between your legs.
Hey, Cringer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Demi Moore. Fantastic makeup. I can't. I don't have my glasses, but
Oh, dear.
This probably was nominated and will probably win.
For makeup?
Yeah.
Costume design? Let me see here. The Substance nominations. And of course they won the Golden Globe, but we all know that doesn't mean anything. Oh, man. We'll know we've gone too far when we run out of Best Picture and we do the Best Golden Globe Picture podcast. I couldn't even imagine that podcast. It'd be so weird. But nominated for Best Achievement in Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Picture, Best Achievement in Directing, Best Performance of Actress in a Leading Role, Best Original Screenplay. It's got to win screenplay at the very least, unless it wins something bigger, and then something else can win Best Original Screenplay. Hold on to your teeth and get ready for The Substance. Edit break. All right. We can continue now.
Okay. I feel like I'm on the McNeil Lehrer show from the 80s. PBS. Sean, what do you think? Let's pause right now. Or maybe...
Quick corner! Speak your mind.
Let's the Sparatinis float across the sage as we get paid by some of our sponsors. Okay, we'll be right back.
Oh, you should watch this is not on the recording, Caleb, but you should watch The Watchmen, Sean, because The Watchmen is it's all like a weird parody of the 1980s, and they do a satirical version of that show in the movie, and it's absolutely nuts, and it's like spot on in a spoofy, satirical kind of way. But anyway.
You know what's so funny is that years ago, let me tell you, I was doing the TARDIS Tavern with my friend Steve that I still do podcasts with. We were doing the Claws of Axos.
Oh, boy.
And there's a scene where there's a unit gentleman driving a car, and the master he's driving a truck, I'm sorry, and the master's about to hypnotize him. And Steve said to me when we were talking about it, he said, "Oh yeah, I will really bet that you are attracted to him, aren't you? I'm like, Steve, how did you know? He goes, I just know you. How the fuck did you know that, you straight motherfucker? I don't know.
I don't know if this is going to be in that podcast and make it past the censors.
Anyway, so the gentleman that is in the episode in the Claws of Axos died last year.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Now, fortunately, most listeners to this podcast, I know through demographics, are also fans of Doctor Who. But in case you're one of those people who aren't, that's what Sean was talking about. That's what TARDIS Tavern was about.
Yeah.